Welcome to the Pretty Little Lifters podcast. I am so excited because we have our first guest here today, and I am with Joey Chapman, and we met each other at USC. We went to grad school together to get our master's in teaching, and she is one of the people that made it such a memorable experience. So I am so excited for you to meet her and to hear her story and to hear what all she's all about. But here she is. Joey, hi.
Hi, thanks for having me, Tiff. I'm so excited to be here.
I'm so excited to have you. So I would love it if you could just tell everyone like what kind of work you're currently doing, all the good things you're up to, and then we'll get into more detailed questions.
Okay, so similar to Tiffany, I am a combo of things. My full-time job is I'm in special education. So I work for the Diagnostic Center North, and half of the time my job is to assess special education students all over Northern California. I go to like 400 different school districts all over Northern California. And then the other half of that job is I train special ed teachers. I have like 4 or 5 trainings that I'm giving this year in math and in writing disabilities and how to organize your teaching caseload and all types of stuff like that. So that's my full-time job. And then my other job that I really, really love and I've been doing now for about a year and a half is personal training. So during COVID, I started studying for my NASM certification, my personal training certification, got that done. And then I started running some boot camps in my area. I live in Oakland. So I have a few different boot camps that I'll get into later. But those are my two jobs.
I love that. So to give people some background, so when we were in grad school, that I don't think I was working out yet. I'm trying to remember. I was like 20, 21. I don't think I had like my fitness regime that I have there. I actually never went to the USC gym. Did you ever go?
I didn't go to the USC gym, but I did go to a gym every day way closer to my house, Gold's Gym. I went to Gold's Gym.
Love that. Oh yes, because you were in Santa Monica.
Yes.
But the interesting thing for me is so I don't think I really had like a fitness routine or anything then, but one thing that stands out in my mind that will forever stand out in my mind was you and I were in a class together and we were sitting in class and our classes were long and you got hungry. So I see you bust out this little like Ziploc bag and you had a chicken breast in it. And I was like, who is she? I've never seen anybody just bust out a chicken breast. And I was like, oh my God, I love her. Look at how healthy she is. I was like, what? And I was sitting there with my crumbly little like oat bar. And I was like, oh my gosh, I need to step my game up.
I remember you commenting on that so specifically. And I did. I was like, I've always been into fitness. I've been into working out. I've played sports my whole life. And so, making sure I get enough protein and enough, vegetables and certain fruits and certain healthy fats. Like it's always just been part of like my daily living. And I remember you being like, what is that? Like chicken in a baggie? What is she doing?
I loved it. Girl, you were getting that protein in. Like, I love that. And like, I think that's what's like really neat about just like everyone else's story. Cause I feel like I grew up like fairly healthy, but I had everything in moderation, and like I'd have fruit snacks and I'd have this, but like, it was just neat to be, like however old we were, like 2021, and like seeing like, oh, this is what somebody else does. And like, I remember I could totally tell like you had muscle definition. I was like, she works out. So it was just neat to see somebody, because I hadn't really been around someone who I could tell like, oh, they work out. Like I could just tell you had habits. And I was like, whoa, that's cool. So I love that story because I'm just like, oh my gosh, it's such a like core memory for me. Joey with her chicken.
And we probably should not have been sitting next to each other in class because
I know.
were very distractible.
I know, it was the best. We definitely had fun chatting while we were trying to focus on teacher things, but it's okay. We ended up being great teachers. It's fine.
We made it.
It's
We're
totally
good.
fine. So I would love to hear a little bit about your personal fitness journey. So by the time we were in grad school, you said you were already like working out. So what was it like before that? Like, did you do sports growing up? Were you active? Like, how did you get to where you are today now that you started Hustle, Hella Hustle Fitness? Like, what was your journey like?
Good question. Okay, so I've always been into sports, working out. I remember as early as I think it was like first, second grade. I always played on sports teams, but I remember my dad would always have me go running with him on the weekends. And it was a little ironic, but I was like 6, 7 years old. And he's like, come on and run with me, Joe. We're gonna run to the donut shop, get a donut, ironic, and then we're gonna run back. And I was so down for it every time. So I would go running with my dad. We would run around the neighborhood, run up to the track at Cal, which is right by our house. And then I always played sports. I played softball, I played soccer, I did dance for a little bit. I played basketball, I played volleyball. And then starting in high school, I started water polo. And I fell in love with water polo when I was at Berkeley High. Loved it, played high school, played club season, played all year long. And then I went on to play at Cal at UC Berkeley. Um, and I just loved all aspects of it. I love the aspects of being on a team. Like I miss that, and I'm old and I still miss that. I love working out. I loved when we had to do conditioning. I loved dry land. I loved the weight room. Like I loved all of it. So that's just always been something that's brought me joy. And not just that, but like it's just part of me. Like I don't feel right the weeks that I don't get my workouts in. And it's not an unhealthy way, but it like feeds my soul. I can't describe it. I know you know what I'm talking about. And I know a
Yes.
lot of you listeners know what I'm talking about, but it's part of my lifestyle. So after Cal, I had been in the water in the pool for 8 years straight. And I was so excited to just try new sports, try new workout programs, try new things that weren't necessarily in the pool. So I tried so many new things. I got into running more, I got into weightlifting more. I tried all these different classes at the gyms that I would go to, like body sculpting, dance, like all these different things. And I still work out probably like 5, 6 days a week. And I love it. So I've always been, I mean, I've been a teacher for now 17 years. Um, and I'll back it up a little bit. Um, I have 3 daughters. They're currently 13, 11, and 3. And I have a stepson who's 17. And about 3 years ago, right after my little one was born, my husband and I separated. And the girls and I moved out of our house and we went to a small apartment, which was good for the time. But I wanted the girls and I to move back in the house, but I knew, hey, I got to pay this mortgage on my own. We had been renting it out. And I wanted us to get back in the house, but it was going to be a big payment. And I was used to splitting that payment. But it was really important to me to try to get back in there. So I was like, you know what? I need a side hustle. I need an extra income to help me with this big bill that I have now on my own. But I was old enough where I'm like, if I'm going to take on a second job, it has to be something I love. Like I truly, truly love. Because if I'm going to be doing this, I don't want a job where I'm away from my kids more, where I need extra childcare, where I need extra baby. Like I needed it to be something that I was passionate about. And I was like, you know what? I've always been into fitness, sports, teamwork, like all of that. So I was like, let me get this certification. And so I did. I studied, I studied, I studied. That was a big test for the National Association of Sports Medicine, the NASM Personal Training Certification. And I was studying, and my kids and I all got COVID. It was October,
Oh
what is it,
no.
2023, 2021. We all got COVID, and I was like, we're stuck in the house for 10 days. I'm taking my test because I'd been studying and studying and studying.
Yes.
And I was like, I don't know when to do it. I don't know when to take it. I'm like, you know what? Now's the time. I can't leave. I have no distractions. I'm going to study all 9 days. And on the last day of quarantine, I signed up for the test and I took it. And I passed it that day. I was so
Yes.
excited. And then a week later, I started my first boot camp. So that was kind of how I got to the whole personal training, boot camp, group exercise, career that I'm halfway doing now. So that was
Yeah.
my
And
journey there.
I love it. And this is also fitting. Like, I mean, just listening to your story, like, and I know your family and stuff. And I've always like, anytime you guys post things, I'm like, oh, they're so active. Like you guys are always doing like an activity. Like it's not like a chore, like a burden to go like be active and work out. Like it's always been just like joy. Like everyone looks like they're having fun. You're doing this, you're going hiking. You're like, there's always like a game and activity. So like, I love that that's always been a part of your life. And like you carry it over to your kids now.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I was lucky to grow up in a really active family. Both my mom and dad are super active. I have two older sisters who are super active. So it's what I enjoy doing. So I have my kids like we're always out and about doing things,
Yeah.
activities, sports, this and that. So yeah, it's
I
something we like.
I love that. So you're in education, I'm in education. I know we're really both good about like habits and stuff, but what are some things that like you do personally, kind of like your non-negotiables to like keep you healthy and fit as someone who's an educator and also has their own business?
Um, I think the hard thing about our job, there's so many perks to education, right? And there's a lot of tough parts about education, just like every job out there. But I think one thing is that in education, there's a lot of routine already built in, right? I mean, a school day, there's so much routine. And so I always try to build working out into part of that routine. So it's tricky to make that into a habit when you're working full time, when you have three kids at home. Everybody, it's tricky. Everyone has their own busy, busy schedule, right?
Yeah.
Um, but prioritizing it in terms of, hey, today do I need to set my alarm at 5 and try to go and get a workout in before all the kids wake up, and then be here ready to like get everyone up, get everyone dressed, get everyone out to school. If that needs to happen, then that needs to happen. Or do I need to get a quick run in after I put my 3-year-old to sleep at night? Like sometimes I get some 10 p.m.ers in, right? But like just making sure that I get my workouts in. And of course, there's days I don't, and it's not the end of the world. But to make it a priority, I feel like I'm such a better teacher. I'm such a better parent. I'm such a better friend. I'm such a better me when I prioritize that. And so there's nothing that's going to stop me, nothing from prioritizing that, because as a teacher, we have to show up every day for our students, for our kids, and like be on
Yes. All the
100%.
time.
Whether I'm training teachers, I have to be on. Whether I'm assessing students, whether I'm in the classroom, like we have to be on it. You can't show up in a bad mood and linger in it. You can't do that. So,
Mhm.
in order to do that job the best I can, I have to prioritize my workouts. I know it makes me better at what I do when I do that.
Yeah, I feel the same way. And I just started doing morning workouts. Like, I don't have any kids or anything, but just I was noticing like I was so tired after work. And I was just like, oh my gosh, like my energy was zapped. And I was like, let's just see like what happens. And I love it. And obviously you have kids, and that seems like it's a good time for you to work out is in the morning, like getting it in, because then it's like your schedule, then your kid's schedule. So like making that time in the morning before you have to like go, go, go sounds like it's really beneficial.
Yeah, and even if even if it's not an ideal day and I get 15 to 20 minutes in, that's not my ideal workout, but it's so much better for me to do that than to just be like, oh, forget it, I'll go tomorrow. Even
Yeah.
just 15, 20 minutes, I'm a different person.
Yeah. And I like that. I like that you shared that, because I think sometimes people have like an all or nothing mentality. Like, I didn't get my hour workout. Like, what's the point? And it's like, go do 10 minutes. Like, what do you got? 5 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. Like, it is better than nothing. Like, just to
Yeah,
set the tone, right?
right. I mean, it's a mindset, and it changes my mindset if I get it in or if I don't. So even, but there is so much pressure we put on ourselves about there's everyone is so busy. It's just
Mm-hmm.
how our lives are, and there's so much pressure that you have to do it like every day has to be the best day, and every day is not the best day. Some days you go to work out and you feel so sluggish and slow and lethargic or weak, and but you're still there. You know those
Yeah.
days? And some days
Yes.
you just feel like you're like floating and like so good, and that's okay. Both of them are okay, right?
Yeah, no, totally. And I think that's when that routine comes in, right? So it's like, hey, this is where I'm at, like do a little assessment, but you're showing up and you're doing something, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
for
no,
sure.
totally. And we're both educators. So what is one of the benefits, one or two of the benefits you've found about like living a healthy lifestyle for like you being an educator? Like what has helped you with that? Like what I don't know. I just feel like sometimes like I've worked at so many schools and it's hard. Like sometimes I'd be the only person who works out regularly. And I want to be like, oh, like we do so much as educators. And I want teachers to take care of themselves because there's so many like benefits that carry over into like our jobs. So like what are some benefits that you find if somebody can as an educator like establish some really good healthy routines?
Um, There's a lot. There's so many. I think one huge benefit is talking to your students about it, because whenever I would tell my students, "Oh, guys, well, I did this great class at the gym last night," they'd have 100,000 questions about it. Or, "You guys, I'm training for a half marathon right now. Like, my legs are really sore." They have so many questions about it. And kids are interested in things like that. They're interested in those routines. They're interested in that. And so one thing that I would do definitely is try to incorporate little mini workouts, no matter what grade or age you work with, into the day. Because during our lessons and all of this, we need to put in little movement breaks, right? And so I found that because I know a lot of different movements to do, as do you, like I would build in fun ones for them, put on some fun music. We're having a 2-minute movement break. Like I know there's Go Noodle out there. There's all these different apps you can use, right? Or we can just make them up on our own. Like put on a fun playlist and let's get moving. And like doing it with your students can be really fun and positive for sure. And then also encouraging like your staff and your coworkers and stuff to go do things together actively. At a school I used to work at, the PE teacher and I, in Oakland, there's a half marathon, a marathon, a 5K they do every year. And we would go do the 5K together each year. So that was fun, like finding activities and exercise things to do with your coworkers and making it something outside of the classroom or outside of the school grounds that you guys do together, to build community. Um, but there were always so many different fun ways to like engage with your coworkers or your students around exercise. One of the best, my all-time favorite, when I was working at an elementary school, they always had at the end of the year, fifth grade um, staff versus fifth grader baseball game. And I always
Oh,
loved
yes.
it because I was like, take it so seriously and play so hard. And the students were excited about that, to see you moving and playing and being
Yes.
athletic and engaging. So I don't know.
Yeah, no, and it's funny because I do sometimes think like from what you hear students say things all the time, like they're around their teachers so much. And like I know I get energy from working out, that's something I need. So like we talked about that. And then kind of what you were saying, like they are around us and looking at us the whole time. And this has nothing to do with like your physical appearance. It's just like kind of what you're talking about. And same thing, like when I would talk about like they'd see me eating something like healthy and they're like, whoa, what is that? Like, and then they want to make it too, so it's like they're always watching us. And I think it's something important for us to remember too, like, oh yeah, like whether we ask for it or not, like we do become role models like for that, you know?
Yeah, and they're watching like not just our lesson plans, but like our real life habits. They
Hmm.
watch way more than we think they watch,
And
right?
they're all like stalking their teachers on social media and trying to figure out like what's going on over there.
Exactly. So but to be proud and to be like, oh yeah, well, this is what I'm eating today. Or
Yeah.
oh yeah, I'm stretching during my recess break because I'm really sore from this run I did last night, or this class I took, or these weights I lifted, or whatever it is, you know.
Yeah, no, definitely. I love that. So you know that I work with an all-girl population and you have 3 daughters. And I would love to hear about, like, I love seeing what your girls are up to. Like they're also so active and they're, learning this healthy lifestyle from you. They're also, they're athletes. They also do modeling. So I would love to know, like, how do you teach them to be like strong and confident and healthy? Because you are doing a fabulous job of it. But like, I would love to know, like, especially in today's age of like social media and everything, like what kind of things are you doing to keep your daughters in that like strong, confident mindset?
So my two older ones, my 13-year-old and my 11-year-old, play basketball. They're on AAU travel team, so they're super involved in that. My little one is 3, so she's just running all over, doing anything and everything. But aside from having your kids in organized sports, I think for me, my opinion, is doing it with them, not being like, guys, go outside and run, get your energy out. It's go out and run with them. My two older ones go to the gym with me 2 mornings a week before school. I'll take one of them one day, the other one the other day. And I'm like teaching them, well, this is how you use the weights properly. So when you get to high school and your team is lifting, like you don't get injured, right? Or like taking them to the park and they have to get whatever, 100, 200 shots up in the evening if they don't have practice that night. So I won't just be sitting there on the bench watching them on my phone, but like go rebound for them, like shoot with them, like doing it with them, not because I'm the best basketball player, because they make fun of me because I'm not. And that's fine. But whatever it is that you're doing, do it with them, right? Like model that you don't have to be perfect at it to be moving, but
I
do it
like
with,
that.
yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's something maybe that holds parents back too. But I do think what you're saying is it's so common. I get it. Parenting is hard. Parents are tired. They're like, go. But like just doing it with them and like having that, like, hey, like, I've never done this. Like, I don't know how to do this, but I'm going to try it with you. And let's just like have fun and like watch mom try and be a beginner, you know?
Yeah, and it's cool if you're way better than me too, because you are. Um, yeah, I think that's for me, and it doesn't have to just be the sport they play. Like we were in Hawaii a year and a half ago. Like, let's all go try surfing. None of us are good at it, but let's all go out there and try it. So again, just like doing activities, athletic activities with them can be super engaging and just modeling for them. Like, doesn't matter what your age is, get out
Yeah.
there.
No, I love that. I love that. And they're doing so good. I see them. Um, Joey's daughters model for Athleta a lot. So I'm like, always see them because I do stuff with Athleta and I'm like, oh my gosh, there the girls are.
Yeah.
They're
Thank
so
you.
cute.
That's a great company too. Like in terms of empowering girls, they have that whole like power of she model.
Yes.
And every shoot they do with them is super positive. Like that whole company, like empowering these young girls, and that's a great company to do that with for
Yeah.
sure.
I love that. So I want to move on to talk about Hella Hustle Fitness because I
Oh,
am so proud of you. Like this is so like up your alley. Like, of course she would have started something fitness related. Like since I knew you, I was like, yes, this is very on brand for Joey. Like, yes, this should have happened. So tell us about like what you do with your boot camps, like where you have them, all that good stuff.
okay. Here, I wore my shirt, got it on for you
Yes.
guys. So I decided, so I do some one-on-one personal training, but I also do boot camps. And at first I was like, man, I got to think of a name. And I remember talking to you, Tiff, like, I don't know how to pick a brand name. Like, it felt really overwhelming. And like, I think I'd have one, and then I hated it. And then I think I had a new one, and I hated it. But I picked the name Hella Hustle Fitness for a few reasons. Number one, I'm from the Bay. I'm from Oakland, and so the word hella is definitely a Bay Area term. And I'm proud to be from here. So I wanted the Bay Area represented, and that word just worked for that. Hustle is this whole thing started because I had to hustle to earn more money. Yes, I'm super passionate about it. Yes, I love it for so many different reasons. But the motivation for this was I had to get my hustle on and like increase my income. And then fitness is obvious. If you wanted to search up something in terms of boot camps or fitness, I wanted it to pop up. So Hella Hustle Fitness, that's how I got the name. But yeah, it's growing way faster than I thought. I'm super excited. So I have a boot camp in Oakland. I live in Oakland, so 3 mornings a week before work, I have it in Oakland. My Oakland boot camp crew is they are so fresh. They're so dedicated. It's growing. I have like 10 to 15 members who come. Some come 3 days a week, some come 2 days a week, some come 1 day a week. But it's such a community. Like I never realized, I honest to God, that I didn't realize that people would come to this boot camp so consistently for things other than getting a workout in until I actually did it on my own. Like, I think people come to get a great workout, but it's also such a cool way to build community other than your work family, right? And other than your immediate family. So it's this group of us, like a boot camp family that come together. It's this 1 hour a day, 3 days a week, and we are all from totally different aspects of life, and we have this common bond, and it's a really cool group, and we're always welcoming like new neighbors, new friends, new whoever wants to come. And sometimes we go and we do activities like not having to do with the workout, just to hang because we like each other a lot. um, so that's been really cool. And then I also started a boot camp in San Francisco, 1 day a week on the weekends, and then a boot camp in Lafayette, which is like Walnut Creek, Concord, Lafayette, Orinda, people coming together for that group over there. So it's been really good, and I never had an exact number of like I need this many people in my boot camp a day, but it's definitely been growing, and I'm really happy with it.
Yeah, no, I have had so much fun like watching the progress of your boot camp grow over the past year. Like it looks so fun. Like I can tell it's a community. Like it is a community. Like they show up wearing your merch. Like everyone's excited. You guys went like you went like axe, throwing together. And I was just like, oh my gosh, this is so fun. So if you are in the San Francisco, Lafayette, Oakland area, you definitely need to check this out. If you are, especially, I think if don't want to do a gym setting, this is like, she has outdoors, you're at the park, you're in like, just like your garage, like it's very much more like small community, which I think can be helpful for people who like have a lot of gym anxiety, and
Oh,
just want,
totally.
you know what I mean?
And it's all levels, and each boot camp is a combination of strength. So we always have dumbbells in our hands, cardio, and core. So we always incorporate all three of those modalities in each and every boot camp. But every boot camp is super different. Sometimes it's stations based. Sometimes we're doing circuits. Sometimes I have like they're on the tread or on a bench, or I have a box they're doing jumps on, or battle ropes, or like whatever. But there's so many different things that we do. So it's
I
fun. Each
love,
one is so
yes.
different, you know?
Yeah, no, that is
Yeah.
awesome. Well, I am so excited to see like where Hella Hustle Fitness goes, because I just think you are crushing it. Like, I can't believe it's only been a year. And like, I remember when you started, I'm like, oh my God, she is crushing it. Like, it looks so fun. And it's awesome that you are creating that space for people. Um, so I have one final question before we go,
Yeah.
just to tie it all up together. I work with teenagers. You have like a teenager now. So I would love to know, what advice would you have shared with teenage Joey? Like, what is some advice you would have shared with your teen self?
Um, Such a good question and such a hard question. Um, I like teenagers because there's so much going on. But I think I would say two things. Number one, I would remind myself as a teenager and teenagers I work with now and my own teenagers, like your body is so much more capable than you even know. Like, use it. You only have one life in your body. It does not matter your shape of your body. It doesn't matter the size of your body. every single body is so powerful and so capable. You don't have to look one certain way to be incredibly strong and powerful, right? And I think it's really easy for teenagers to get, for all of us, not just teenagers, but to get caught up in this idea of like, oh, you're only strong and fit if blah, 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 blah. And it's not true. Like, your body is so much more capable than you even know. So push it, use it, test it. Like, whether you think of yourself as athletic or not, get in there and try it, right? Because you might really, really like it. And then the second thing I would tell myself as a teenager or other teenagers now is, um, don't underestimate the power that working out has on your mental state. For me personally, working out is partly for physical fitness, right? But it's really so much for my mental health. And I think for teenagers, being a teenager, being in middle school, being in high school, it is not easy for so many reasons. And protecting your mental health and making sure that you're supporting yourself as best as you can, working out can play such a huge role in that, whether again it's for 10 minutes a day or for an hour a day or for an hour and a half or 2 hours a day. But like, being a teenager is rough, man. It's hard. And so use working out as a tool. It's not going to like solve everything, but it's a really, really helpful tool, and it can be a free tool, right, to help improve your mental health and just to like stay focused and really feel good about yourself on the days that you're not, because that's real. And so I would have told myself, I would tell myself and I would tell teens now, like, use it as a tool.
Yes, I love those two pieces of advice. I couldn't agree more with that, especially like I know that teenage years, especially working with teenagers now, you have some that like want to be active and some that like don't do anything. And I'm like, oh my gosh, your bodies want you to do stuff right now. Like, you are at that age where it's like you could do so much. And it is true. It's like, yes, that getting them to understand like your body is powerful, like use it, like start now, and build these habits. And then it's going to be like so much easier for you in the future.
Yeah, for
um,
sure.
no, I love that. So, Joey, how can we support you? How can we support Hella Hustle Fitness? Where can we direct people?
Um, well, you can follow me on Instagram at @hellahustle_fitness. If you're ever in the Bay Area, if you're in Oakland, if you're in San Francisco, if you know anybody up here, send them to my boot camp. We would love to welcome them into our family, our boot camp crew. Um, I don't know, just, I have t-shirts, I have sweatshirts, but more than that, I just want people to come and, if you're up here on vacation or if you live up here, just come join us, come meet me. Like, anybody, everybody's welcome. You do not have to already be in shape to start. I have so many different levels of people who come with me. In the summer, I run a youth boot camp. So for a lot of athletes who might not be in season at that time, we just do a lot of conditioning work. So I like to work with youth specifically in the summer, like when their seasons are on pause a little bit. But yeah, come work out with me, follow me on Instagram, and just have fun with us.
Love it. So, everyone, go give Joey a follow. And, Joey, thank you so much for making time. I know you are a busy mama, and we're both on a 3-day weekend. So, that's why I was like, this is the perfect time. Let's do it.
No,
I was
thank
like,
you
let's go.
for having me. I love what you're doing. I love following you. I mean, you're my friend, so I talk to you anyway, but I just love seeing what you're doing. You're super motivating to me, Tiff. Just the messages you send out, especially to young girls. Like, I couldn't agree more with what you're doing, with where you're working, with what you're teaching, like showing them all of these skills and empowering them. Like, I am so glad you're in that classroom doing that job.
Thank you. Thank
You're
you. I
meant for
appreciate.
that.
Oh, thank you. No, it's so cool to like see where our journeys have been. Like, we started at USC grad school, getting our master's in teaching, and now we are both doing fitness things. And it's like incorporating both worlds. And I think it's so awesome. But
Yeah.
thank you again for being here. I love you. I appreciate you. And everyone go give her a follow. And thank you for listening, everyone. This is our second podcast, first guest. Joey, thank you for breaking the ice for everyone to come after you. And we will see you next episode.
Thanks for having me.